Alright guys, hey, I hope you guys can see me okay. If not, this is probably the best it's going to be for this video shoot. I am doing this video on how to make some Japanese udon noodles dry style because of some requests that I got from some folks when I posted some pictures of it the last time I made it on IG and Facebook. So I kind of got everything already prepped because I didn't want to waste time recording the prep time. This is something that probably takes about maybe 30 minutes. I guess I'll just go through the ingredients really quick. So you can get these noodles, I hope you guys can see, from like any kind of Asian or international store. I think it's Niguri. They're udon style noodles. I've got some frozen asparagus I'm going to add, some red and orange peppers, and some garlic and onion over here, and of course some shrimp as well. Alright, you can use any oil for this basically. I opted for the olive oil. I normally recommend using peanut oil, but you should be fine using any oil. And I have some lemon juice that I'm going to use as part of this, and then of course some fundamental soy sauce. Alright, I've got a pot back here. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a pot of water that I'm heating up while I'm going to cook this, start the stir frying, or this here. So I just add the garlic and onions first. And you can just kind of start smelling with the aroma. I know you can't smell in the video, but you know, we're just gonna brown this garlic, because that's what you do with garlic, and the onions. And while that's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and just drop these noodles in this back pot so I can get them boiling. When we boil the noodles, we don't want to boil them so that they're like super soft. We just kind of almost want to just, you know, lightly boil them. So have that going. I like to do multiple things while I cook. I'm going to turn this heat back up a little bit. I had turned it down as I was prepping the oil and getting everything prepped. So if you can see, you can see the garlic is starting to get brown a little bit. I'm going to turn the back burner up where the noodles are so that it'll hopefully be ready. And I'm actually going to add the shrimp first, since that's the raw meat. It'll take a little bit longer to cook than the rest of the veggies. And when you add it, you kind of want to spread out the onions and garlics off to the side and kind of pull the meat in the middle and kind of spread it out so it's evenly, versus the shrimp, laid flat in the bottom of the wok. And just kind of let the onions and the garlic cook down on the sides there, since they're not directly in the heat anymore. Like I mentioned to a couple people on Facebook, this is really a straightforward, you know, dish. Like you see me in my pajamas right now, if you can't see. You know, this is real life, real cooking, right? This is just trying to make a quick meal at the end of the night that hopefully tastes good, kind of good for you, and doesn't take too long. So shrimps are already starting to color brown a little bit. And of course you want to kind of keep that movement going, because the high heat of the wok will cook pretty quickly. I tend to just kind of flip the shrimp when I notice that they're starting to turn. And so while this is cooking, you can also basically, you can really do this with almost any noodle. Just something to keep in mind is when you take a traditionally wet noodle and you make it dry, some of the packet seasoning that comes with it that we will use, You guys can see. You may want to limit that some, since there's a less of a water base, so you're going to have a lot more of that salt and sodium in there, and it's going to be a lot more potent. And partly also why I use the lemon juice is to cut some of that salt flavor down and some of that spice down, so it's going to be amplified because we're cooking with less water. Shrimp's looking pretty good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the asparagus. And you can use any, I prefer the chopped up small asparagus so that they'll cook a little better. This pack that I actually got, it actually had a little mild Szechuan sauce in it, so that really, is great. It's just another Asian flavor on top. And I'm gonna just kind of stir that in and try to get some of that asparagus on the bottom and the shrimp on top. All right, so work some of this asparagus up. So we got the asparagus in there, and that's going. I'm going to make sure the heat is up. And you're going to get some, when you add this frozen vegetable like this, you're going to get, of course, some water pulled in here. This is like a piece of bamboo or something. And that's fine, because since we're making this dry anyway, the noodles are going to suck some of that up. The noodles are boiling pretty well. I'm going to turn them down. As I continue cooking down this asparagus. Just check to make sure I'm still recording here. Alright, great. Looks like that's the case. Alright, so as the asparagus is cooking in there, what I like to do is go ahead and get this soy sauce here. So this just adds, some flavor, just a couple of dashes, to the shrimp, without, doing like some traditional seasoning or salt, which may overwhelm the flavor that we're going to get with the seasoning that already comes with the noodles. Stir that in a little bit. You're going to see the shrimp kind of get more of a brown color because of the soy sauce, which is perfect. Kind of what we want. And again, you kind of want to put whatever you're cooking in the wok towards the middle and laid flat, and everything else to the side. So the direct heat is going to mostly be in the middle of the wok. Turn this heat back up. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add the peppers. This is just for some additional flavor and really to add some color to the dish. So I said just some red and orange peppers I cut up. Stir those in there. Alright, let that cook. Let me check on these noodles here. So, if you can see, the noodles are kind of at the consistency we want. They're not too soft. They're still a little bit firm because we don't want to have a soggy noodle inside with to get the wok. So I'm going to drain this. I'm not even sure if you guys can see me draining though. So you can see I've drained most of the water out of here. Alright. So I'll put that down. I'll turn that back stove off for those noodles. And to get the shrimp and asparagus and peppers another stir around here. That's looking pretty good. Hopefully you guys can see that. If not, I'll take the camera off near the end here. You guys can get a good shot. So then we'll go ahead and get the seasoning out for the noodles. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it right here on the dry noodles. And like I mentioned, you may not want to use the whole packet if you're not really into a lot of spice, because it's going to be more potent as a dry noodle. So I'm using about 3/4 of the packet here. And then there's some traditional herbal, dry herbs that I'm going to throw in here that comes with it. So, alright, turn this heat back up some. And you guys can kind of see, hopefully, the seasoning and everything's right there. And we're just basically going to take a fork and just kind of stir that around and get that seasoning mixed all the way through. We don't want seasoning bunched up in, the top of our noodles. I normally would make 2 packs of this, but tonight when I went to prepare everything, I realized I only had 1 pack of noodles left. So, but I promised people that I would get this out and done, and so I'm just making the 1 pack tonight. But there's plenty of veggies and shrimp to compensate for that, and lack of starch. Alright, so you can see I kind of mixed the noodles. They got a kind of a brown flavor. You see the seasoning's kind of mixed through. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's smelling pretty good. And I'm going to give the shrimp and the asparagus another quick stir. And you can see there's kind of like almost like a brown sauce at the bottom now from everything. And so last, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this lemon juice I was referring to earlier, and go ahead and just put a couple squirts inside the noodles to cut some of that salt and the spice down. And you can also put a splash in with the shrimp. Since we had that soy sauce in there, it'll cut some of it down as well, so you don't have a dish that's kind of too salty. So stir that around. Now I'll just go ahead and add the noodles right in there. And then again, I'm going to try to get the noodles into the middle and all the veggies and shrimp off to the side so the noodles can get that direct heat from the center of the wok there. I'm going to clean up a little bit while that's cooking. And I believe in cleaning up while you cook. It just makes for a faster cleanup, and you can enjoy the meal. I'll put my stuff up here. My oil is done with. So you can see everything's just kind of cooking here. I'm going to want to kind of keep, the ingredients moving in the wok because of the intense heat. I don't want to burn the noodles or have them stick or any of the other ingredients. So I'm going to probably let this cook for like another minute or so, and we'll be basically done. Take a peek at the cooking time here on the phone. So it's been, looks like 13 minutes, and this is basically done at this point. And like I mentioned, maybe about 15 minutes of prep time. Oh, one thing I think I forgot to mention is with the shrimp. When I peel the shrimp, I tend to actually peel the end of the fan tail off. I personally prefer that way. Because when I eat shrimp, I just want to enjoy the whole shrimp. I don't want to pause during my bites and pull a tail shell out of my mouth. So I personally recommend making this that way, so that way you get to just enjoy the dish and not worry about shells and really get down, right? So yep, and then this is basically done at this point, folks. Get my pot handle. Did you guys take a peek? Looks pretty good, right? And so that is how I made the Japanese style udon noodles with shrimp, asparagus, red and orange peppers, garlic and onions. Very basic items you can get anywhere in any store. So that's it. Thanks for letting me share this with you guys, and bon appetit. Take care.